Go ahead and get started, and if people trickle in, that's great. Welcome to Becoming a Creator with Detections AI. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about how to build community and become a contributor on the platform. If you aren't already part of the platform or part of the community, we are invite only based right now. So feel free to use the invite code community that's in the top right corner of your screen. Otherwise, chances are you are already part of the community, so we will dive right into it. Awesome. I will introduce you to the team. This is Aaron Moog. He's our community manager. He will be leading the call and showing everybody the features about how you can contribute more to the platform and to the community, as well as build your own personal brand. We have Tim Peck, Director of Threat Research, on the line. He will be here to answer any technical questions. And then I'm Caroline Matz. I lead marketing over here at Detections AI. Awesome. So, like I mentioned, today we will be going a little bit deeper into building a community together. We are a community of 9,698 people and growing. So, this platform gives you an opportunity to share expertise, join groups, leverage detections from a completely global community. And you have a platform of nearly 10,000 people, which is pretty exciting. We will also dive into growing your personal brand. So, earning recognition in the detection engineering community for your personal brand or your corporate brand, as well as how to create and lead groups both publicly and privately, or for your organization. So, without further ado, I will pass it off to you, Aaron, and you can dive into the platform.
Excellent. So hopefully everybody can see Detections AI here. So I'm Aaron. I am the head of community here at Detections AI. So I'm going to talk a little bit today about the way we think about community, the way we think about sharing. This is not a technical deep dive into creating detections. Tim runs those, thank God that I don't have to. And we had those last week, and they're on YouTube if anybody wants to check them out. So I'm not going to spend too much time on detection creation. I'm going to spend more time on the rest of the journey, sharing, managing libraries, managing groups, things like that. So hopefully all of you have been in Detections AI. If not, like Caroline said, you could use the community tag to get in. But everything in our platform, once you're in, you sign up and you build your profile, starts with your profile. So if you look at a profile, we keep them pretty simple. When you start, you will have the ability to add your socials. So we've got a lot of this is a highly viewed page and I'll show you why in a second. But this is a hotspot for sort of finding out who the person is that posted detections. So if you have personals that you can add to this, it does really enrich the experience. People can sort of connect to you and maybe where you work or what you do. So this is great, especially LinkedIn. We see a lot of click-throughs to LinkedIn off of our page for people's profiles. So you could come in and change these anytime you want. It's the little pencils, or you can just go to edit and edit all of them and just add your usernames. The URL is already built in. For those who came in and built a profile and either skipped this stage or just picked the default picture and didn't really have a time to make your profile picture what you want, if you hover over your picture, you can go back to this and recreate your avatar. So you can use any AI prompt you want. The AI will generate, I think, 3 or 4 options for you. If you don't like them, you can regenerate, I think, up to 30 or something like that before it tells you you need to cool down. But overall, this is really fun. It's a great way to sort of build out your prompt engineering skills around image generation, but also just make your profile look like you want. This does come up a lot because people join and don't really think it through, and then they want to start sharing, and it's not what they want it to be. So you can come into your profile, change all of this, manage all of this. You also could check things like followers. This is a demo account, so I have tons of followers. But this is where everything starts, is in your profile. Most of our users who come in are looking to consume detections and save detections, not necessarily create detections. So most of where people start is discovery. So discovery is our feed. For those of you who haven't seen it, this is our feed of detections that have been shared to the community. All of it's filterable, sortable. You can search for, you know, okay, let's go click fix and find detections related to click fix. You can sort things, you can save filters, lots and lots of things you can do around discovery. But if you'll notice here, this is the way we sort of organize the view. Everything in your view is based on your permission. So if you're in a group and I'm not, I don't see those detections and you do. That's how the platform is built. And you can see here everything, like I mentioned, profiles get used a lot. The first thing we show people is who did it. Um, we generally focus everything on time. Recency bias is very heavy into what we're doing, including on the main page here. This is based on your contribution effort. So have you contributed before and how recent is it? So you'll see a lot of the stuff that makes the top of the feed is recency bias in the last couple of days. It just that's usually what people are looking for. Sometimes if things are super important, we'll bring it up a level, but for the most part, it's based on kind of your contribution level and how recent you've done it. And you can see here, you can see what language it is. You can see how recent the detections were contributed. I think most of you should be fairly familiar with this now. But one thing I do want to touch on is the idea of sharing into groups, and this is sort of fundamental to everything that we do. So the default group on Detections AI is just our community. Everybody's in it automatically. You can see and people can leave if they choose to, and we have had a few people leave, kind of lose some of the value, but you could definitely do it. And you could see sort of the count of if you post a detection to the public group, how many people are going to see it, in kind of be able to manage it. A lot of our work and a lot of the people on the site are using cut and paste and library saves. The downloads is literally just exports. There's thousands and thousands of views on top of that. So this is kind of where you can come to see what's going on in the community, how big it is, but also where you'll post, and I'll kind of take you through that here in a second. So this is the main feed. This is where the action's at. Um, when it comes to the preferences here, we see a lot of traction for everything. I say KQL and Sigma, ERL, the sim languages are certainly, I would say, the most popular, as you can see from the stats here. Google SecOps is certainly a growing part of our community. Yara is all the endpoint people. Sentinel-1, we just launched that, I think, last week. Cortex, there's different rules that you can share. We're launching Suricata tomorrow, actually. So that'll be awesome. So that brings our network detection friends to the table. So a lot of options of language. You could certainly publish your detections in multiple languages if you want. That's great. So if you write something and you think it's fantastic and you want to convert it to other languages, I can show you how to do that. But at the end of the day, no one language sort of rises above all as far as interest. But I would say, the sim ones tend to get more traction just because more people have it. Um, so this is our main feed. This is what you're going to spend time looking at. If you go to groups, you'll see a bunch of different groups that are going on, and I'll get into sort of group permissions here in a second. But I just want to take you through creation, right? Just in case you've never done it. I'll do one based on Intel. So you can see here, Tim, who's on the call, is nice enough to put on the front page recent intelligence from different vendors, Trend Micro, Sentinel Labs, Arctic Wolf, Google. If you go look at this, you'll see, sorry, you can ignore TackFlow. This is something we're working on. It's behind a feature flag right now, but you can see here we bring the intel in, we summarize it, we score it. Again, most of you have probably seen this. You can create a detection in any of our supported AI languages. There's more languages for translate. But in this case, I'll just create a detection. Just kind of show you how this works. This will take a second. So there's also other paths to get your detections. I'll show you in a second, but a vast majority of our shared detections come from AI work. So people, putting together detections based on intel they're bringing to the table, or things they've seen in their org, or things they want to talk about. So you can see here, if you give it Intel, again, I'm not gonna go too deep in this, it'll create a summary for you. It'll create some pathing of different options that you can go after. So I'll just do an IP adjust one, just to hopefully make this simpler. And so obviously as the AI is working here, you can add multiple Intel sources. So if you've ever messed around with that, you can add articles and logs and prompts. And it's a full GPT engine in a sense like you can add whatever data you want. You can pick your language, change languages, refine detections. Again, I'm not going to get too far into detections or anything, but let's just say, for the sake of argument, this is the detection that you want. When you save it off, hopefully this will work. I did it earlier and it broke because I did something wrong. So hopefully this will take just a second. So what this is doing is it's writing you a better story about your detection than you're going to get from just the words on the Sigma rule. So you're going to get all the different tagging. I generally will redo the AI autofill. Sometimes the tagging will get sort of improved, which is cool. So most of the time you're going to save it to your local library. So this is a local library rule. If I go to my detection library, it should be the first one created 6 seconds ago. Pretty standard rule, right? Great. Let's say you think this is the greatest rule since sliced bread. You want to save it and share it. There's a couple different things you could do here. I mentioned before translate. If I go into translate, this is where you can ship your detection in some other languages that aren't AI supported, like Net, Witness, QRadar, Datadog. So you can support multiple language supports. You just pick your rule and the where you want to go to and translate it. But I won't do that right now. And then so let's just say this was something you wanted to contribute to the community. There's a little publish here. So if I pick publish, the first option is always going to be the community. If I publish that and go to Discover Detections, and hopefully there I am. So 10,000 people can now see this detection. So that's as easy as to share. They could come to my profile and follow me. If you're on the site right now, you could come look at this detection, save it to your library, do a bunch of cut and paste with it, translations, whatever. So that's kind of how we handle the default sharing to the community. And what I would say the vast majority of the shares are just straight to, I want everybody to be able to see this. But we can add a little nuance to this. We can add a little bit of flavor to this by looking at groups. So the way groups work is I'll take you through the audiences in a second. You can see here different size follower groups, different members groups, because those are different things, how many detections they may have. And you can, if you're in the site, you can join any one of these. These are all public to join. You can join them. You can be part of the conversation. Joining does allow you to get comments. So if you join a group, if I say here's the um, uh, uh, ransomware ISAC group, I want to follow them. Now I can see their detections in my feed. See here they've written 3 detections. I can also join the group. I'm not going to do that. But this is just a way to sort of get your particular brand out and share some detections under whatever veil you want to do. That being said, this is all the ones that just allow public participation. There are hundreds and hundreds of groups that do not allow that. So let's just say that you wanted to create a group of your audience, and we can get into what that means. So there's a little create group here. So just as a sample, I'll do one. I mentioned we're launching Suricata tomorrow. So let's just say I wanted to create a Suricata group. Um, let's say fans, and let's just say fans of Suricata. So um, you also can add images here, logos, whatever you want, whether it's public or private, you can add images. And so there are some group structures here. So public group is anybody can see your detections, whether they join or not, and anybody can join and publish. So you could have a huge group of hundreds of people. Anybody can contribute, very open. Obviously, people start contributing things that aren't valid. You can kick them out or delete their detections. But fundamentally, this is like a open invitation to collaborate. Moderated is interesting. That is generally what we're using for things like brands or vendors that want to control contributions. They want everybody to see what they're writing, but they want to be able to, it's a one-to-many relationship. Now you can have more than one contributor if you like, but that's ultimately, anybody can follow you, anybody can join and see the detections, but only the people who you approve can post them. So if you had 5 researchers at a company, this would be the perfect structure. Everybody in the world can join, see your detections, but only the 5 of you can write them. And then what's most common is private. Private is invite only. Only people invited can post. Only people invited can see. So this is used for all sorts of different kinds of groups and ISACs and vendors and companies. There's lots of reasons to use private groups. You can choose whether or not you want to show up in the registry of groups. Um, there are a bunch of private groups in the registry. You have to ask permission to join. The moderator decides to let you in or not. If you have no interest in that process and you only want to invite people that you're kind of already connected to, you just go unlisted. In that case, I'll do that as a use case here. So now I'm in my group, right? So I have my new Suricata group. Excited, we're gonna have a big launch tomorrow, and I want to invite some people who work on Suricata detections. If I go to manage here, I get a bunch of different options, so I can redo all of my choices. Sometimes if you make the wrong choices or want to change the type of group you have or change your image, you can do all that here. It will always show you who the members are, so it's just me, I'm the admin. I can invite right from here. So this invite up here, which some of you may have used, invites people to just detections AI, and then they have to find you or or asked to join your group. If you invite people from your group, they get invited, but also get to automatically participate in the group. So if I invite a user, and let's say I'm going to pick on Tim here. So if they're already on the site, you can just add them, right? Tim's on there now. If they're not on the site, or you don't know if they're on the site, you can use their email. So if I didn't know if Tim was on here or I couldn't find him, I could just send it to his email. If he's already on the site with that email, it will just add him as a group. It'll just be able to accept the invite to the group. If he's not on Detections AI, it'll actually give him the rights to join Detections AI. This is, I'm not going to do this because this isn't a real email, but you can add anybody you want here. They'll get like a nice email. Hey, Aaron invited you to join Detections AI and the Suricata group of fans, and go. In this case, I'll just invite Tim because he's already on the site. So that's going to go out to Tim. You can see it's pending. You can resend it or revoke it out of this screen if you like. But Tim should see it. And Tim, if you could accept it so I can show what that looks like. And then you have detections. This is just showing you your local detections in your group. You can do all of your normal detection management from here, sort it, delete it, whatever you want to do. But again, only you have this is a private group, only you have visibility to it. Um, so this is kind of the structure of it. So once Tim joins, here you go. So he just joined. It's that easy. We are now in a private group. We can exchange Shirkata detections. I can also make him an admin anytime I want. It just automatically updates his role. So now Tim and I are admins, so we can do all the admin functions. Obviously, you can redemote them. A lot of flexibility, lots of different ways. One of the really cool things here is if you have a lot of membership, let's say you're a brand and you want to, you have 100 people that have joined your group. There is an export right here. It dumps out a really nice CSV of their user profiles. So you could add them to your HubSpot or put them in a mailing list. So there's lots of flexibility here. Obviously all these people opted in. It's your sort of audience at that point to do with what you want. So that's the way we view the membership enrollment piece of it. Hopefully that makes sense. The last thing I want to cover with this is promotion. And the promote is really, I think, really, really cool. This is a great way to get. So I showed you invite, which is I know you, and now you want to go beyond who you know and do things like social, right? So the way this works is anybody can build an invite code. I'll just do a test just for the sake of argument. You can make it whatever you want when I create it. So now I have an invite code, and I am now controlling invitation to Detections AI. So if you post to LinkedIn and you say, "Hey, I'm now posting a text on Detections AI, check it out," and you say, "Join with invite code Suratest," um, not only will that get them into Detections AI, they will now automatically be in your community the minute they use that invite code. Pretty awesome. We've had a lot of success with this of people running campaigns or using their socials to grow their audience and using their own invite codes. Again, so you can disable or edit them if you wish. You can always add more. If you were doing multiple campaigns, Siri test one, Siri test two, however you want to do it. Really, really useful. You also have the ability to generate a join link. And this is really great too. This basically does everything the invite code does, but just creates a URL that if they click on it, it'll make them enroll in Detections AI, and then if they're not already, and then when they accept, they'll be in your group. So these are both available to you. This is really good for things like Slack or X, where maybe you're a little shorter and like, hey, check out my detection, and you just give them this link. It'll take care of the rest of the process for them. If you're being a little bit more social, sometimes the invite codes work better. Both work great. I've used both to get to where we're at now. And so if you have any questions about this, you're like, hey, I would love to sort of think about tying it to different campaigns we're doing or different outreaches, like let us know. This is pretty flexible. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys as a way to build your group out. So now I have a lot of options on the way to grow my Suricata group. And I can, again, this is all private. If I get it to a certain point and I'm like, hey, you know what? I actually do want the community to see it. You come in here, you make it public, go. You make it moderated. You can do it that way. I can also unlist and relist. So if you were interested in maybe people sort of finding you and asking to join, you could take that off. It's very popular for things like conferences where people go to a conference, it's private, but they sort of, oh, I went to Black Hat, I went to LabsCon, and they can ask to join. Um, so that makes sense. I just want to mention really quick, I don't think I can get this up. I don't see anything in chat yet. I'm just going to kind of keep going. If you have a question, you can put it in chat or there's a Q&A. Or on this call, if you want to, we can we can unmute. You can just ask a question if you don't feel like typing. But Caroline's watching the chat, so she'll interrupt me if you want to have a question. Otherwise, I'm just gonna kind of roll through the content, and then we'll come back to questions at the end. So hopefully that makes sense from a group's perspective, and the ways that you can sort of manage your brand with that. Again, you can shop for groups in here. You can search for groups. So if you're looking for a Google group, there's the different three different Google groups that are available. You can see I can follow them, which shows me their detections without having to join because they're public. I can join it to contribute, or obviously just ignore that they exist and never see the rules altogether. We do have the option if we want to collaborate to turn some groups into mandatory groups that everybody sees whether they join or not. So example, that would be Slim KQL. So if you come into the site, you're going to see these detections in this group, whether or not you want to, because I mean, you can always unfollow, but we just make this what they call a broadcast group, which we show it to everybody because of we believe in what they're doing or whatever it may be. So if you have questions about getting more visibility around your group, let me know, and we can certainly address that. You'll also see in here, um, let me reset this. Um, okay, I could count without a filter. You can also see here a lot of the larger pools of detections are from GitHub repos and already existing community efforts. So we're just trying to amplify that. If you have a repo that you think would be cool, or you run a repo and syncing it up makes their life easier, let us know. The other thing you can do in your own library is we do have an option here to connect to GitHub. So if you have an existing um, repo built in GitHub and you're pushing that as one of the ways that you share detections, we can sync those up so all those automatically become part of Detections AI. This button right here that you can do yourself, this is self-service. This just creates detections in your library, which may be how you want to do it. So let's say you had 100 detections in GitHub, you install a GitHub sync, you put your key in, those 100 detections will show up in your library. Maybe you only want to contribute three. That's totally fine. We see a lot of that. If you want to automatically sync with your group, I have to build it for you. It's just not. This is built for library. It's the same feature. It's just very easy for us to wire it up. So that's you can do that, and you'll all your GitHub detections will show up in your library. You can start doing interesting things with them. Within this screen, you'll also see the personal library I took you guys through. This is where you publish from. You can also, by the way, like unpublish, you could go into your detections and delete them if you're like, I really wish I hadn't shared that. No, did I just crash? Sorry, my internet's been a little funky today. So this one's shared. I can unpublish it anytime I want. So I'm going to go ahead and take it off the share. So that's now gone. Nobody can see it but me. Obviously, it doesn't delete the detection. It just unshares it. So if I do share it and I think it's interesting, the rule itself has a little share button right here. This is also really, really popular for rule sharing. If you write a rule or you think it's sort of news of the day or interesting, if you click on share right here, we have the integrations to X and Post to LinkedIn, which basically use the normal, you already signed into LinkedIn post kind of thing. It works really well. I use it all the time. You also can just copy the link. And so what's cool about this, and I'll just do this really quick. So if you give this to somebody who is not a member of Detections AI, and they click on your link, they get like a really nice share preview. So you could see it'll have the topic, the who wrote it, and then a little preview of the rule, and then they can join here. We have this drives a lot of traffic for people requesting invite to join. And again, these are like if you're doing it to an audience and you wanted them to join your group, you should use group codes. But if you just want to publish a detection for the world to see, you're not really worried about them following you or anything. You just want to, do it for community reasons. This is great because then this process is taken care of by us. So we'll deal with the invite codes and the request for invites. So this is really cool. This is what the non-signed in experience looks like. Obviously, I'll sign back in. So that's just sharing. It's pretty easy to use. There's a few other kind of options here as far as like, you obviously can cut and paste this out and share it out in a different way. You can download these into YAML files if you wanted to do more of a manual sync with a GitHub repo or some other sharing format. I have people syncing in Notion, all sorts of other stuff. I'm actually going to go ahead and unpublish this rule again. Then you can see there's some labels and some metadata on around your rules, all the tagging, things like that. In your library itself, the other very cool thing you can do is when you guys I saw when I built my rule, it automatically does tagging. So one of the cool things we added was a MITRE view. So if you go into your MITRE view of your library, you can see if you're more interested in creating like full coverage or your MSS and you want to show your customers that you have every language for every MITRE control, this is a great screen for that. So to show you your gaps, you can click on any of these gaps. It'll break down what's available for you. You can always go to the community and go out to the community and see if anybody's written a detection to fill this gap. And then if you save the query, you can see automatically it becomes a detection that has coverage of that part of MITRE. So really fast, awesome way to do MITRE. It breaks down into all the different controls. If you're trying to look at like library completeness or publishing certain focus areas, like, hey, I worked a lot on, discovery attack modes, and I want to make sure that I have all these bases covered. It's great. It's a really, really useful way to do it. Um, you can always switch back to list view. As far as your library is concerned, a couple other things you can do along with GitHub and AI is we do have the ability to add one detection at a time. Um, so I'm going to just show you guys this. I'm going to steal somebody else's detection. I'll steal Tim's. So if I grab a detection, what is this? Let me just, oh, is this, okay, I maybe don't want this one. Let me find a different one. Let's do a Sigma one. So just a Sigma detection. If you go to add detection and you can literally just cut and paste your detection, it'll do all the work for you. It'll find all of the reference URLs, everything. If you autofill, it should go through and give you all the tagging you need, everything like that. So it's a great way to add detections from somewhere else. You can always save it to drafts or publish it. So that's really cool for one-offs or cut and paste. If you have more of a library and you want to sync it up, not GitHub, you can dump full archives in here. I've done 5,000 rules. It's super easy. You can just dump YAML files or KQL files, JSON files, or zips, and it'll upload your whole library. And then you can use AI to do all the tagging. Really, really great way to maintain your library. And also get MITRE view and all the other fun stuff, and all the sorting and dating that we always don't usually always have in flat YAML file storage. Um, so the last piece of the library, and again, this isn't on by default. If anybody wants this, please let me know. We have this idea of teams. So teams is functioning the same as group membership, but it's for companies or organizations. This is totally private. This is where integrations happen, single sign-on. You can invite people from your own company or group. We've used this for working groups also. And this is to create a team shared library. So just like you would share a detection to a group, if you like a detection, you can actually move it to your team. It will disappear from your library and move over. See, I just dropped one, and then now this is 1 minute ago. I share this to my team. So anybody in my team, this is like the collaborative version of it where it's private. You guys are just developing as a team. You can have a team and a group. Groups is pretty much I'm on stage. I want people to see it. Teams is private development, closer to like a private GitHub project. So that's the way we look at teams. Same thing for Intel collection. You always have the community intel we add, and then you have your personal intel. You can add anything you want here. So you can add URLs, files, logs. I'm sure most of you mess with this. But you also now get a team intel. So you can share intel to your own team. We are working on shared intel into groups, which will be very cool. So you'll be able to publish intel just for your group to consume and turn into detections. But Teams is available for both intel and detections. If you're interested, if you're like, hell, hey, that would solve some problems for me in my group, let me know and we'll set it up for you. We're still in early access to that. Um, Other than that, those are kind of the big sweet spots for detections. The things we're seeing work the best are groups that are, I guess, sort of public to semi-public, even if you're the only one publishing. Turning them into broadcast groups has been really successful. Creating followers that way has been really great. Obviously, audience-specific stuff like focusing on one of the languages, focusing on a particular vendor. I write Splunk detections, I write KQL detections, really great. Some of the newer stuff, right? So some of the newer SIMs and things, Sentinel-1 detections, things like that are is more of a growth market in the sense of like there aren't that many detections out there. And like I mentioned, we're launching Suricata tomorrow. This is November 11th, so hopefully November 12th it will be out for those of you watching on YouTube. And Suricata will also be, I think, a pretty great couple month run of just people adding detections that are relevant to them. So on that note, I will go back to the Zoom chat here. Does anybody have any questions about the site, about our tech, anything like that? Pretty quiet. No worries. I know it's a lot to take in. We will be posting this on YouTube and sending it all to you guys. So in case you want to share or, what did Aaron say and just want to go back to it, no problem. And then we're always here to help you navigate all of this. I'll go back here really quick. Um, I'm gonna put this up as kind of the last bit here.
If there's no questions, I guess that just means you did a good job explaining.
Or
Incredible.
people have tuned out and done other things. Either way, great. But this is me and Tim and Caroline here. We're always our name at Detections AI. We're on LinkedIn. We're always here to help. Please don't be shy about reaching out to us. We know when it comes to things like audiences and brands and marketing, it can get complicated. There's different needs. We are here to help. It's a great community of folks that are trying to get detections, learn from detection engineers. So if you feel like there's a voice in that for you, hopefully you'll be part of that part of the community. If not, if you just learned a little bit more about what we're doing, that's great too. So on that note, I will give one more call for questions. I think I haven't seen any. All right.
Awesome. Yeah, feel free. Oh, he took it off. I was going to say, feel free
Okay.
to take a screenshot of that. No, no worries at all, Aaron. And I just want to extend myself as a resource as well. I know you just said that, Aaron, but whether you're building your personal brand or brand for your organization, please feel free to reach out if you're interested in partnering with us. Or, like Aaron said, if you have any questions, I'm happy to help brainstorm strategy with you. So, like I said, feel free to reach out either via email or LinkedIn. We are all here.
Awesome. Well, on that note, thank you everybody for attending. And everybody have a great rest of your week. Thank
Yeah,
you so
thanks so
much.
much.
All right. Bye,
Awesome.
everybody.
Thanks, everyone.